休息了这么久，可能大家都忘了我们常规赛的实力，但是没关系，我们很快会再让你们见识到的。
如果能在季后赛打败他们，我也相当于证明了我自己了。
2000次击杀不会是终点，就像我们这赛季的征程也不会就这样结束。
2000杀，丢在的脚步没有停，
生涯2000杀，在 LPL 也是排名第1的。
哇，小狗收割停不住，顺便还能破个记录。
我既然选择了中路，就要有 carry 的决心，我会扛着队伍前进。
我之前说过了，季后赛的 RW 不会让大家失望。我们打 EDG 的时候，我给大家看 Super Carry 多硬币。
那个男人说要安排一下 LPL 的野区，但是我回来了，这谁安排谁还说不定呢。
上个赛季我们扮演的是挑战者的角色，但是如今的 IG 已经今非昔比了，请拭目以待。
我只知道拿到过5次 LPL 冠军的只有一个可人了，这就够了。
6 paths, they're calling me Madara. Your guys will hide in the mist. My brothers put iron in fists like Kazuya. Man call me an amateur. I put numbers in squares like dates on a calendar. Had everyone dressed in black like I came here trying to unlock a new character. Had everyone dressed in black with a bottle in hand like Lee Long. Walk in a party, see a Barbie looking nice, I just give her a smile and a wink. Could have been dead, I could have been rich, I could have been locked in a cage.
Hello and welcome to the English broadcast of the LPL. We're back for more playoff action as we conclude our semi-finals. Either EDG or Rogue Warriors will walk away today, having punched in their tickets to the finals in Chengdu. And last night's set went down to the wire, going to that 5th and final game, with both teams definitely matching up in terms of their styles. And tonight seems like it's going to be no different, as we have powerhouse AD carries. You can see Ivory on your screen right there. And also, you look at the scaling compositions on top of that, we're definitely going to have sparks flying as we get towards that mid and late game between both of these two teams. And you can hear the crowd right now getting hyped up as every single player passes on your screen right now. I mean, star-studded lineups right here, and it'll be exciting to see if Rogue Warriors, who are currently walking down the corridor, can take down EDG, because right now it seems like the prophecy is about to come true, with EDG maybe looking towards RNG in the finals, and we'll have to see if that is the case. Welcome to the desk. My name is Richard Polscam, and as you can see, we are Riffside right now. We're up and close and personal with the action, and right alongside me dancing is Brenta Raz Mohammed, and alongside him is Indiana Frusker and Black. How are you both today?
I'm doing quite well, thank you for asking. You already talked about the Riffside motion. It's the second day for me and Frost specifically, so you get the introduction. I should be asking you that question.
Yeah, how's Disneyland?
It's lovely. I'm expecting this thing to rotate at any time. We're about to go for a wild ride. Please keep all appendages in the ride at all times. I'm sure this will be exciting. Frost, how are you today?
I am a little bit under the weather, so if you hear me start to go through puberty, you know what happened. But yeah, we are actually covering the games. They're live in Hangzhou right now. We're covering them from our studio in Shanghai, so that's why we have these incredible surroundings.
Yeah, our throats are both hurting on both sides of Raz currently, so we've created a sandwich right here, so apologies for that one, Raz. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket and how it's been shaping up so far in the playoffs here in the LPL, because we are lagging just a little behind the rest of the leagues. But you can see Rogue Warriors in their journey to the semi-finals came straight into the quarterfinals and won the anime war against BLG, and then we'll be facing EDG today.
It's just because we like to save the best for last, Pulse. That's all it is. That said, you are correct. Today is our last semi-final for that final ticket to Chengdu to face RNG in the finals, so either Rogue Warriors or EDG. But that's not all the action that's coming at us, as we also have our 3rd versus 4th place match.
Yeah, and whoever ends up losing, that's not a prize you want to be able to take going up against Invictus Gaming, because that yesterday's match was incredible to see. I would say the fall of a dominant team.
And again, still incredibly important to do well in Chongqing if you do lose today, because 3rd versus 4th in terms of championship points and looking towards summer at Worlds is incredibly important. So it's not over for these teams, whoever goes on to Chengdu or goes on to Chongqing.
Oh yeah, absolutely not vacation time for them just yet. And that'll be coming on Tuesday as well, so stick around for that. We'll only have 1 day break before we get towards that one. But let's bring it towards this matchup right here and talk about these two teams. I want to start off talking about a bit of identity, because I know a lot of people will be just tuning into playoffs and they saw IG yesterday and it's like, what was this? I've heard that they've been hyped up on social media.
I was told
what
this was a
happened? You know?
super team.
I would be lying to you, but I want to talk about these two teams because Rogue Warriors just kind of came out of nowhere, and EDG, they're not quite the same team that we all know and love.
Honestly, when you look at the strengths, both of them are fairly similar in the fact that EDG are bot lane focused, but of course SMLZ focused. But even before we even hit on the fact, I want to talk about the fact that you're having differences in terms of mid lane jungle synergy. While our Rogue Warriors are incredible in how they utilize jungle mid lane, a little bit different coming out of EDG.
Yeah, the reality is that both these teams are incredibly similar. They're both going to be about their bot lanes. They're both going to be about the late game 5v5, but it's how they approach this. Raz just touched on this. There's a strength in Rogue Warriors jungle mid synergy and how they control the early game to allow SMLZ to scale up, whereas EDG are much more about the mid focus. It's still a lot about the jungle mid synergy, although Haro and Scout have been on the weaker side, but it's so they can blitz you, hit you hard, get out of lane very quickly, and close out the game at 25 minutes.
And you talked about the weaknesses of EDG just a little bit. Sporadic carry performance that just comes in the fact that while Scout can come out and have phenomenal performances, phenomenal games, and even mentioned it coming into this game, the little bit of video saying that he can and he will carry, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he follows through, or at least falls through, and I want to see what performance we get out of him today.
But of course, we do have to talk about the real carries of these teams. If EDG are bot lane centric and Rogue Warriors are SMLZ centric, yes, they're both ADCs, but it's also about the importance of Mako for EDG's bot lane. Captain Shotcaller unlocking him, whereas SMLZ acquires every single resource, and Kahlua is sometimes thrown to the wolves for the success of Rogue Warriors.
And Kai'Sa is a major focus as we're going to be going into later today. If you saw Uzi and how he performed with the pick yesterday, it's a bit of a sneak peek to how SMLZ is going to be able to get there if he gets his hand on the pick today. Because while SMLZ, we talk about how SMLZ focused, he goes towards hyper carries later on, but we might be seeing a lot more of the Caitlyn's if, of course, he gets the hand on it coming out of EDG.
Yeah, it might actually be unfortunate that Rogue Warriors and EDG are playing second, because Invictus Gaming got a real taste about how strong Kai'Sa is when Uzi got his pentakill on it yesterday, which might mean that we don't see Kai'Sa unlocked today, and it's just on the permaban list. Hopefully, I want to see Kai'Sa unleashed because he is the queen of Kai'Sa.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It took them 3 games to be like, maybe we should ban away this champion. It's a little too strong right now. And also, we actually saw Rogue Warriors pick up this pick even before 8.6, the patch we're on right now. So on 8.5, they were still using it and they were still taking names with the pick.
I mean, the reality is that we play more Kai'Sa than anyone else because we had it available to us before playoffs. So we have the most Kai'Sa online, so our team should be very comfortable and very considerate of what this champion brings to the matchup.
On top of that as well, we have a lot of hyper carry 80 carries within the league that understand what Kai'Sa is supposed to bring for you as we hit those 2-3 item breakpoints and just be able to unload. So SMLZ very naturally fits that style.
It definitely does, and you're saying it's SMLZ focused for sure. The marksman in this game will be very interesting to follow. SMLZ definitely feels like an amplifier. You give him all these resources and he just spews out so much damage for the team, but at the same time, maybe this can be exploited here. As you can see, the lineup on your screen: EDG, Ren top lane, Haro in the jungle, Scout in the mid lane with iBoy, and Mako making up the bottom lane.
And of course, the big question mark is, where is Clear Love? We saw him as the final game for EDG. He said in the intro video that he's back, baby. You need to fear him, but it's Haro that's starting today, and EDG have looked much weaker with Haro in the jungle. He is a place that can be exploited.
And while that's true, you do have to remember the fact that Haro has been playing the majority of the games, and we only saw Clear Love for that one set going up against BLG. Looked impressive, but starting out with Haro means that you want to start out with that consistent lineup.
And it does mean that since we haven't seen Haro for the 2 weeks that EDG have been resting for this playoff moment, that perhaps he's expanded his champion pool. Once known as a coin flip, only a Jarvan and Kha'Zix player, maybe he pulls out the Trundle that we saw MLXG so dominant on yesterday. Maybe he looks for something like the Olaf and brings just a new weapon to this EDG squad right when it counts.
Yeah, because we've seen those problems all throughout the split. You know, the team has had to try and play around Haro. I vividly remember when he was on that Sejuani pick, walked towards the bottom lane, stepped in the trap, and the whole play fizzled. So hopefully we don't see that today coming out of EDG. But you can see some of these team stats as well. I know yesterday we were looking at first and second, and today's no real difference, second and third on so many of these stats.
Yeah, the biggest point of focus for me, of course, is team jungle percentage, because while we were putting a lot of questions towards Haro specifically, second place in team jungle percentage, Rogue Warriors are going to try and get a track on him. So I want to see how they play around Flawless and if Haro is going to be a factor in this game.
And a reminder, Rogue Warriors across the board look much better statistically in almost every single metric. They were also in the harder conference. EDG is the last remaining team of the Western Conference that's still left alive. There were 3 teams in the Eastern Conference in the semifinals alone. So it speaks to how dominant Rogue Warriors have been for so long that they have padded their stats in the more competitive conference.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Beast and the East, remember when they were in cross-conference, the top 3 did not drop a single game against the West. So of course they ended up beating EDG as well. And I know for us, we were talking about this backstage, and Rogue Warriors, I mean, they completely destroyed EDG last time they went head-to-head.
It was a perfect game. They absolutely slaughtered Edward Gaming when they faced them, but they only faced them once in cross-conference. So it's a single best of 3 in terms of our tape to go on.
Okay, so I want to dig a little bit deeper into the draft now. Now that we know what these two teams are looking for, what are they going to be picking up in terms of the picks? So let's start off talking about denial. What are we going to be taking away from these teams?
All right, so
kicking it off.
I'm going to go with Rogue Warriors. I'm going to be on the Rogue Warriors side of things, and I want to start focusing down the early game aspect coming out of EDG. Caitlyn has been a primary pick that they go towards time and time again. Take the Caitlyn away, and I want to see, of course, iBoy look to pick something up, or at least something else up, so he doesn't have that 8-minute, I guess, timeline.
You don't want to deny the snowball.
Exactly, and of course Shen is a flex pick that comes through time and time again coming out of EDG, so I don't want to see it being picked up by Mako. I don't want to be seeing it picked up in the top lane. And speaking of the top lane, to round it out, Camille is a major focus. If it's going to be an SMLZ focused team, then I don't want to see him getting dived, and I don't want to see Mouse getting completely split pushed on. So protect Mouse, protect SMLZ.
So I completely feel Raz. I'm going to be EDG in this case scenario. And while Raz is trying to take away a lot of EDG's tools to snowball, to really brute force in the lane phase and allow Rogue Warriors to scale up, I want to deny any sort of safety options for Rogue Warriors so EDG can brute force them. That means Tahm Kench has to go. I don't care if you pick it. I hope you don't. I want to see Kench banned because I just think he's an unfun champion. But you need to make sure that there is kill pressure on the bot lane because iBoy and Mako love to play aggressive. They love to play forward. And Kench just completely unravels that. Then double threat Doinby. Take away the Karma, take away the Rise. Both these champions allow him to compete with the wave clear and have rotation to the bot lane. So when you start blitzing and diving at SMLZ, trying to punish him, you don't have those champions running amok.
Exactly. I mean, Karma, the most played champion for Doinby in the mid lane as well. So probably want to be taking that one away. So if we go under the assumption that these picks are being taken off the board, then what should the teams then prioritize after that?
Ooh, I'll go with Rogue Warriors once again, just because for priority, we're already talking about SMLZ, bottom lane, bottom lane, bottom lane. Kaisa is the biggest one that he's been looking towards. It fits his pool, it fits his style. Now, the only caveat and why I have Varus here is because I just don't expect it getting away from the bans. Like, EDG should just ban it repeatedly. So if that does become a factor, pick up the Varus, which has been a major priority in the playoffs in the season, just because it is such a strong laning phase focused champion, and it allows them to create plays on the bottom side as well, and then tie that as well with the Tahm Kench. You already said that you don't want the Tahm Kench, but if it is free, get Killer with Tahm Kench and save SMLZ.
Yeah, hilariously, when I was drafting this as well, I also grabbed Varus and Tahm Kench. I think they will be the 2 most contested picks, and they're going to go back and forth, trade a bunch of hands. I want to see it banned, though, which is why I then put Talia on here. Again, EDG's key to success is getting all of their resources down bottom. Talia is Scout's best champion, and it helps him get up that roam, and Sejuani then helps him contest the Scuttle Crab vision, and it's such an important pick for Haro.
I'm hearing that the teams are going to be getting into the Rift very shortly, so let's just go over the flex picks between both these two teams very quickly.
Thankfully, it's quick, because flex for Rogue Warriors has been Rise and Sion. Sion goes mid lane, Sion goes top lane. Sion is a busted champion. Pick it up.
I like fun champions, Shin Camille. They're fun. They flex between jungle, top, and support.
They get involved in the action. They're cool to watch. All right, so let's get to predictions. It's crunch time. What are we getting out of these guys? I'll start with Resident Flip-Flopper, Razzle Plasm. What's going on, Raz?
I'm not flip-flopping. You just picked the wrong sides.
That's actually true. You've been less around the flip-flopping recently. You nailed the Rogue. I think you nailed the Rogue Warriors, but go ahead. What's your prediction?
I'll take 3-1 for EDG. I think the fact that EDG will come in strong, will finish strong. If Haro comes out poorly in one game, they can come out with clear love.
What part of perfect game did you miss, Raz? The only footage that we have on tape is Rogue Warriors absolutely dominating Edward Gaming.
And then the weeks after that.
Yeah, and they were still in the more competitive conference. And then we also have tape of them coming back and beating BLG with EDG almost lost to. I'm Rogue Warriors. I think it's 3-1 today. I think Doinby is going to the finals.
Okay, split desk coming out here. I'm actually hearing that the even though we were speeding towards Champions League now, we've slowed back down again and there's an issue on stage. So let's go into question time. This is my favorite part of the day. So we're going to start this one off with talking about the AD carries in the bottom lane. Of course, going to be a massive part of this early game. So we're going to go price of right rules once again. I'm a big fan of that personally. So what's the highest?
No, wait a second.
I know how this game works.
You know, just for that, Frost, you're going to go first because last time Raz did. Okay, so highest damage percentage from the the ADCs. Keep in mind that the averages you can see on your screen right here, 33.4% out of SMLZ, and second place iBoy, 33.2. So, Frosk was the highest damage percent we're going to see today.
You want me to actually give a number on the damage percent, or who's actually going to have a higher damage percent?
Why not both?
Oh boy. Okay, I think SMLZ will actually have the higher damage percent because I actually think it's more likely that he'll play a hyper carry versus a mid-game power spike. I think it's more likely that iBoy will pick up the Varus. Not that SMLZ won't play it, but more likely that iBoy has it, whereas iBoy will grab like a Jhin, which is going to make his damage percentage off the charts. And I think it's probably going to be around 35%.
Okay. I'll say I agree with the SMLC aspect. We might even see a Lulu or Karma coming out of Doinby, so I'm going to go for 40%. That one game, you might just see SMLZ being the only one on the map that does it in.
Because the reality is also that was a stat when Gangplank was being played a lot by Mouse, because that's like the collective. And as Mouse is moving away from the GP and moving more towards tanks, obviously the ADC is going to eat a much larger percentage share of the damage.
Yeah, and you can see that we were like, oh, crazy, because we often see 40% come out of the AD carries pretty often. So we'll see if that actually happens in the end. Before we head over to the casters, we're going to hear from iBoy and is traveling to Chengdu.
这次季后赛意味着我们会有点难受，因为我们要坐2个小时的车去杭州。 但是还有比这更难受的，就是要坐3、4个小时的飞机去成都。
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dom. Joining me here is Rusty, and we've got Rogue Warriors versus EDG already into our first pick. And Rusty, already, Rogue Warriors have Kai'Sa.
Starts off with a Kai'Sa, Dom. We've already got the Kai'Sa locked in, so SMLZ's been empowered. He gets his champion of choice. The question is, what do EDG do from this point onwards? This is the one rule we gave them, Dom. Do not give Rogue Warriors Kai'Sa.
And the answer from Edward Gaming, they're going to try to deal with it in Alistar. Now, this is the Mako pick. This is something that he's known for. This is something that he is very well known for. And we heard from the desk, you know, EDG, if they want to focus on that bottom lane, it is through a champion that does have roam capability that Mako can utilize. Varus will be the follow-up, so already EDG very heavily prioritizing that bottom lane. I think as we expected.
I mean, I wonder if EDG have actually pinched themselves a little bit here. They ban the Tahm Kench away, they give over the Kai'Sa, and they don't get the Tahm Kench to pick for themselves when they're on the red side. Ultimately, EDG, they've got a higher priority on the Alistar and the Varus, and whilst I like the Varus, I expected the Varus. Alistar as a first pick was not something I had in mind, but I will say, as we've got 3 picks apiece right now between these respective teams, nothing is a surprise.
Yeah, this is all power picks for the two. Sion now locked in for Rogue Warriors. That's a flex between Doinby and Mouse. Scout returning towards his most played Talia. He's been huge on the champion this split, and we heard him saying, hey, I want to be the carry for this team in playoffs, and this is exactly what he's looking for.
And it's not just his most played champion, it's his best champion by far. Something that we've wished he would play all split long, but he would differentiate here and there, and it's good to see coming into the first game of this best of 5 in the semifinals against Rogue Warriors. They bring the best first.
Absolutely. And of course, this is the game where you set the momentum, you set the pace. Of course, winning this series allows you to try and dictate the rest. Though, if EDG, I'm fairly certain at this point, they just want to kill against Rogue Warriors, remembering the last time they played, where EDG played a grand total of, I think, 70 minutes worth of gameplay and didn't get a single one. So I think anything is a bit of a step up at this point. We'll see what the next follow-ups are going to be. Obviously, a bit of flexibility for Rogue Warriors. We're still looking for both junglers.
And speaking of course, there's a couple of different roles being banned away by EDG on the opposite side. The Galio removed from Doinby, the Trundle now taken away from Flawless. He showed in his last best of 5 against BLG that Trundle's actually a pretty prolific pick for him. But what's interesting is now that they've banned away the Olaf with that Trundle, jungle being pinched, and this is a big question we had coming into this set. Very similar champion pools, but Haru has not been seen for 19 days. Does he have something new, or does he even not need to show that right now? As usually the jungle is the champion pool that gets pinched between both of these teams.
We know Rogue Warriors are very well known for their mid-jungle synergy, Doinby and Flawless. Haro is going to have to try to go up against that with Scout on that very mobile Talia, so no surprise, he takes the champion that he has taken the most this split with Sejuani. And again, this could be a comfort thing. Haro has not played on a playoff stage before. This is still his rookie split.
And to be fair, it's just a Sejuani. Why would you not pick it when it's available, right? Any other hovers would be second-rate versions of what is usually the Sejuani. The ranged engage, the coupling with the composition they've got, it's perfect for their comp. All they're missing is that top laner wild card, and honestly, as a 4-man unit, they're super strong right now, so they get to react to what Rogue Warriors pick, they get to counter accordingly.
Yeah, and this is an exceptional composition from Rogue Warriors. They got double flex with the Rise Scion, so they can pick and choose how they want to determine that mid-top matchup.
Yeah.
That does mean that Ray will get a bit of flexibility in looking at the two champions that he's against.
He knows that it's going to be the Scion for the most part. You would have to assume, of course, that is going to be the case. We have seen some Ryze go top lane. Mouse in particular has played the champion. But so there's always a chance, but it is Doinby. This is that Game 5 versus BLG champion where Doinby put on the super carry pants, as he aptly said just before.
He certainly did. And we'll get the chance to see him return towards that same champion. And with that, we've got our compositions all locked in. Doinby, the heartbeat for his team on a champion that he almost single-handedly won Game 5 on to advance to this stage of the semifinals, along with the rest of his team leading the vanguard against Edward Gaming. Mouse with a big laugh and a smile as he goes up against former teammates Scout, Mako, and iBoy. It is going to be quite the challenge to bring them down this time, because this is not the EDG that we saw earlier in the split. This is not the EDG that Rogue Warriors smashed in Week 5.
Well, we don't know what EDG this is, and that's the biggest question mark that we have. They came into the last week of the LPL and they had some form about them. They took down BLG, a team that was surging forwards, and they did look like they were strong in the end, but that was with Clearlove coming back, and maybe that was a honeymoon period for EDG. Now it's Haro starting one more time, and Haro, in his first playoffs, has to step onto the big stage against Rogue Warriors, a side that have got momentum. They've already played 5 games. They're warmed up on the playoff stage. Not an easy feat for him to do, and not when the pressure is on.
Absolutely. If you can't beat me at my Haro, you don't deserve me at my Clearlove, is what Edward Gaming is going to be saying on stage. Though I'm sure RNG, after yesterday, they're going to be watching this game with absolutely riveting interest, not only because it's the last footage of their last opponent who will advance to those finals in Chengdu, but also you've got to worry about that little seed of doubt in Uzi's mind. Will the prophecy come true? Will EDG advance to the finals and Clearlove once again snipe away another title from Uzi? Or will Rogue Warriors, the newcomer team to the LPL, the team of misfits banding together in completely unprecedented fashion, race up to those finals?
I've got no doubt in my mind that Uzi will be watching this set with bated breath, but it's all about this game at hand right now, Dom, as we get onto it.
We have loaded into game number 1 between Edward Gaming and Rogue Warriors. The fans have filled the arena. I'm sure we're going to hear them any second. EDG fans absolutely representing. What volume!
You'll find that when it comes to the playoffs, the fans don't just stop at the chance. They're a little bit too passionate sometimes, and even the casters in the local arena have to tell them to pipe down, because there is a game that we all want to watch, and we are under the roof for this first game. And the place that we have to bring our attention towards isn't just where the junglers start. Of course, they're exciting in the early game. It's how do they influence the bottom lane, because that is the place to be. When EDG take on Rogue Warriors, if you're not looking at the bottom lane, you're making a mistake.
Yes, 2 spectacular carries. SMLZ, the queen of Kaisa, as he is called, the Chinese sniper, the first player to take the Kaisa in a major region and show people how it's done. Now gets the chance to take it once again against Edward Gaming as he heads down to the bottom lane. Looks like red side start from both of these junglers. Interestingly enough, SMLZ, he is taking that press the attack, I believe.
He definitely is. Of course, wants to get that on-hit passive. Flawless at level 2 now, looking towards middle lane. Gragas is one of the best level 2 ganking champions with a flash body slam.
Steps forward, no flash. Spell Flux tags Scout, but Flawless, did he actually just body slam on top of that?
Yeah, actually what Flawless was trying to do there was bait out the flash.
Okay.
He didn't want to flash in, but I think Scout, of course, having the cleanse may have been saving himself just that little bit extra. And in a game of chicken, Rogue Warriors lose.
We can see who's called it first. Scout is able to hold his own. Again, a huge mechanical player for EDG. Previously, substitute behind Faker and EasyHoon for SK Telecom. Now he was behind Deft on EDG, and he's been starting this entire year and last year as well. He said he wants to carry. Well, already Rogue Warriors putting some pressure on that mid lane.
Yeah.
We'll see if that continues, because again, Flawless Doinby is a huge duo for Rogue Warriors.
And I do like the idea, right? Go towards mid lane, see if you can pressure it out. Scout is one of those players that can crack under the pressure, especially when you saw him at Worlds on the international stage. Fell down spectacularly, I might say, with the way that he crumbled under the pressure, because he's predictable. He plays in a single style pretty much all of the time. But Talia is one of his most coveted picks, because it almost circumvents the weaknesses in his style of play. You can actually use a wall to block people off from catching you out of position.
Yeah.
And in lane, you try and keep yourself at a range that is quite safe. The only way the Gragas will get him is with a flash, but he's got the summoners available, so they're able to work around that. Now Haro looking towards mid lane. He is in.
Yeah, perhaps it's EDG showing they've got the synergy. That's the flash use. Stun pops him over the wall. No summoners. Doinby's low. 100 health. Walking to the turret. Haro is able to tank it. Scout gets first blood.
And the last auto attack is all it takes. Scout's able to pick that up for himself as well, so the mid laner of EDG is set up to succeed, and they have done this early game very well. Edward Gaming, Rogue Warriors ever falling behind in that mid lane is always a cause for concern, especially when he's playing the Rise this time around. It's not the Karma, it's not the Lulu. He wants to carry. Now it's harder to do.
And we know Doinby specifically of the Rogue Warriors is a very emotional player. If you can tilt him, it's quite something Rogue Warriors have to be worried about. That said, though, his emotion is also a driving force. When he's behind, he doesn't crack. He more, I suppose, turns into a diamond. He hardens and fights harder.
They're a momentum-based team in that respect, being with the emotions, playing a major part in their roles as a team, but it's always the same style of play, again, from Rogue Warriors that usually makes them successful. Losing that early game momentum when you play the exact same style regardless of how you're going is very inhibiting to how the rest of the game starts to play out. And already you can see pressure down in the bottom lane from EDG. They've got a kill in the mid lane. It's an Infernal Drake as the first dragon in the game as well. So all of this starts to mount up quite heavily if they unlock Haro, and he has been free to do so. Flawless and Haro have played on the opposite sides of the rift from level 1.
Already we're starting to see some very interesting jungle rotations from the two. Haro thinking about invading the blue buff of Edward Gaming, as I believe it's not been taken.
Exactly. We're at 5 minutes in the game. The blue buff hasn't been taken. They've been trying to get some ganks off. Haro passed around the blue buff to gank mid lane, so the timing might have caught Doinby off guard. Did. They get themselves the kill. And Flawless, knowing that, of course, when you see the jungler appear without a blue buff, well, it's got to be available. But he looks for the opportunity. He doesn't find the chance. Again, very well guarded by Scout in particular, of course, denying the access.
Scuttle Crab still holding that vision to keep that blue buff safe. Mako takes a trade down here as SMLZ finally starting to get some levels and try to catch up to the CS that iBoy has been building up for himself. This wave is pushing away from them, though.
Yeah, that wave will crash in and still give the advantage towards iBoy rather by pretty much an entire wave, but already starting to see what can happen when a Braum and a Kaiser are able to work in tandem. That's why press the attack is so good here when you've got that Braum there. The 4-hit passive, you're going to get 3 auto attacks off, especially if they get stunned. You get that going.
Oh, and that's the engage. One auto attack to proc the concussive blows, but that's heal from iBoy to get distance. Mia ping onto Flawless.
As the back ping on the bush that he's at, so they have that feeling. Either way, he's going to go back to base and continue with this pressure around the bottom lane area, but no successful ganks being able to be seen. I think a lot of it now is waiting for that level 6 point. Once you get the flash body slam, it's one thing to hit it, it's another thing to make that convert, and they've got the Braum on their team, so no one's actually able to deny him from getting the keg to follow up. There's no Braum door to prevent that and just knock everyone to safety. It's Mako.
Double knock up. The door comes up. Stun onto Killua. The rookie for Rogue Warriors as he dances back. He's already been in a series this playoff so far, so he does have a bit more stage experience than Haro of this caliber, but you have to look at the age of these organizations as well. How have Rogue Warriors been preparing Flawless and Killua, the two younger players to this team, to deal with the pressure of
playing
playoffs?
Towards this red buff almost wholeheartedly. Haro's nearby, Scout's nearby. He knows the bottom lane's recalled.
Doinby's the target. We get dashed right back out. He's going to try and retreat, but he goes down. Another kill to Edward Gaming. As Rogue Warriors are just forced to back up.
Doinby's second death of the game goes down near the red buff, doesn't have the team to support him. That is a big decision-making error from the side of Rogue Warriors. Flawless is looking towards it, maybe close to 6 because I know Haro ticks it with that red. But just being there in the first place, you know Killua and SMLZ have lost the trade. They stayed around only to place vision, maybe as a deterrent, not to fight. But he chooses to be in a position where he can get caught and does get made to pay for that. EDG with a second kill. This time, Haro and Scout still being the contributors towards that, scaling up further in that mid-jungle duo. Dire straits already.
And again, it's been 2 weeks since we've seen Edward Gaming. They've had plenty of time to prepare for this series, look for weaknesses in Rogue Warriors' strategy or style of play. And while Rogue Warriors have certainly been practicing the 8.6 meta, we've heard from the players multiple times that they're focused on trying to take control of the game, trying to play through that bottom lane with their new picks, with this Kai'Sa. Edward Gaming seem to have it down so far. Nearly 20 CS for iBoy, about 15 ahead. In the mid lane, Scout 1-0-1.
We do have to take a step back because we haven't really had a chance to look forwards in this game and actually talk about what the team compositions themselves mean and what we're actually looking at. Because with an early game start going towards EDG, that's not something that should be a massive surprise to anyone, right? They're running the Varus to control the laning phase against a Kai'Sa. All expectations are that you would be able to control that. Alistar and Braum in the 1v1, still not bad for Alistar. Braum can't stop you from pulverizing 2 people, right? So 2v2 has control for EDG. Mid lane should have the push against the Rise as well, both running materializers earlier as well to control the minion waves. Jungle has made the biggest impact on that. But for Rogue Warriors, even though they've lost this early game, it is still 2,000 gold to EDG at 8 minutes. They're looking towards late game. Longer lens. They need to look past the early hurdles and scale up towards that later stage of the game where a Kai'Sa can pretty much win everything by herself in the team fights. Doinb can just be a tank shredder with her if they'd like. And there is a lot of crowd control on Rogue Warriors roster to complement Kai'Sa's passive.
Absolutely. This is a style that Rogue Warriors have got to be comfortable with, as it's what got them originally into the LPL. The first few weeks, it was all about that late game, hyper carry-centric SMLZ style, the Kog'Maws, the Varus, sometimes even the Vayne if he was feeling a bit frisky. But now he's got the new hotness, that Void Vayne in the bottom lane, as you like to call her, Kai'Sa.
Space Vayne.
Space Vayne, that's the one. But EDG, they're going to try and put an end to that early. They take the very first Infernal Dragon. Next one will be an Ocean, so not quite as much incentive. Certainly something to be enjoyed, though.
All right, Ray. Having a rough time up here trying to poke out Mouse. Actually loses the trade. But you're right, the Infernal Drake does go down, and that's one big thing. If Rogue Warriors are looking to scale, not only is it a gold difference, but now there's an objective, a very meaningful scaling objective that still goes towards EDG. And that's not even to say that their late game is poor.
Oh, yeah.
It's just to say that that's where Rogue Warriors want to be, especially with how this early game has started out for them through that middle lane. But to navigate there when Scout has the ability on Talia to be roaming around the Rift successfully, and he has snowballed through that laning phase, is going to do wonders.
Certainly is. That does fit EDG's macro play style. It appears that Doinb is roaming down. Does Doinb have water walking right now? Mercury Treads, he did have the particles. Perhaps he was hoping to play a roam-centric style on this Rise, now contesting the blue over the wall, but EDG are already there.
Well,
That's
not just
the Realm
Warp.
Warp.
Oh my god. All right.
And they're investing quite a bit. Flawless with
Nice
the sidestep,
dodge.
body slams, but the flick, and Haro picks it up. Doinb steps forward as this is 4v4, but Rogue Warriors back against the wall. They've got nowhere to go. Cask separates Scout, but it's not enough. Another kill to EDG.
SMLZ's caught.
Weaver's Wall onto SMLZ. He's got flash. Teleport as he's in the pit. Will he try to fight this, though? Teleport completed. Ray comes in, but so too does Mouse. He slams into his former teammates. That's the knockup. It's chaos in the lines, but SMLZ is still firing. Scout has able to kill Doinb, and SMLZ still trying, working him down, but Rogue Warriors are falling to pieces. Ray chases over the wall, feeling a bit frisky as he scares Rogue Warriors back.
EDG just get a sniff. They knew that was a good fight for themselves the second that the blue buff went awry, and people had mispositioned as an attempt to get that blue buff. So they follow the fight through. Very confident play from the side of EDG. Now 5-0 is the score, and SMLZ caught again.
Yeah, there's no flash for SMLZ. Ray looking for the solo kill. Killua, can you get the save? He can. Keeping his 80 carry topped up, the first kill for Rogue Warriors.
And that was the point where EDG unfortunately overstayed. The teleports, the death time is way too low at 10 minutes. EDG must be feeling like it's a bit later in the game with the way that team fight went. It was prolonged. It gave too much time for Rogue Warriors to walk back after going down in the first place. Remember, Killua, he was the first death.
Yeah. And that seems to be the best, I think, exemplification of the style of these two teams. EDG, they want to make sure they've got those fights that they can afford to take. They want to know when you have overextended so that they can punish you accordingly. Rogue Warriors seem to thrive just a little bit more in the chaotic fights during these early games, which allowed them to get that first kill back in. That said, though, it's still 2,500 gold down for Rogue Warriors, taking a fight that was risky to begin with.
Yeah, you know, traditionally, like when you really think about why would they try and take that fight, a Kai'Sa should be able to roam faster than a Varus. A Rise should be able to roam very quickly as well, and he was in the area. And then both top laners having teleports. Well, Ray wasn't Mega Gnar. So that's also a decent timing if you're looking for the play. But because EDG have the push, and it was in their blue buff, of course they're going to be there first. Of course they're going to be able to make that play and collapse faster. And Haro's strong, Scout's strong. Now they're even stronger from that fight. I understand what Rogue Warriors were thinking, but it's not the fight they should be taking.
Ooh, Killua senses something's off, but it's not the red buff. He's found Scout. Knockup stalls it out. Doinb tries to get in. Finally, he gets the kill, but will again go low and die. SMLZ joins the fight. doesn't quite have the ability to chase too far, but Mako is doing work along with Haro. Killua goes low. What's going to be the target? SMLZ finishes one off, and Rogue Warriors are actually backing out of this. Chains of Corruption catches him. He gets the kill. iBoy will follow up, though, and say he is the better sniper here.
Stands and delivers iBoy and SMLZ. They have the AD carry battle, but EDG are still the victors in the end. The tank duo of Haro and Mako able to get so many kills pretty much by themselves. Very strong from EDG, but Rogue Warriors are fighting back consistently throughout all of this. They are getting trades now from a place where it might have been dire straits, feeling a little bit better for themselves. And a nice little dodge there from Flawless with the body slam ensures that he stays alive for quite an extended period of time. And unfortunately, whilst SMLZ is here far quicker than that of iBoy, Doinby had to sacrifice himself to go forwards, flashed in to get the kill, and flashing forwards to an Alistar and a Sejuani, not a good decision for yourself in the end.
No, it is not.
But then SMLZ gets the kills.
Yeah, iBoy finally able to catch up. It did end up being a 2 for 3 in favor of Rogue Warriors as they walked away with 3 kills, only giving away the 2. That will reset some of those bounties a little bit and get some much-needed gold onto that Kai'Sa. You can see SMLZ now with the finished Guinsoo's and finished Zerker Greaves. iBoy certainly right there as well, as he does have the experience advantage and 30 CS up. So still just waiting to spend that gold for the time being. And Edward Gaming, they've shown their strategy very plain, very simple. All right, Rogue Warriors, you want to play around SMLZ? Well, what if we don't let you roam down to protect him?
Yeah, they cut it off before they could actually get down there, but still, Rogue Warriors have found opportunities to keep themselves a little bit closer. The only person who's really been suffering is Doinby in that middle lane, and he's still getting kills as an end result. Killua didn't block that with the door. He chooses to let it crash. It looks like perhaps they want to fight instead.
Doinby has caught up. He's just outside of range with that Realm Warp.
That was a party cask to disengage them.
Just trying to keep them interested. That's what it was. And still, though, EDG are clearing vision around here. They've spotted Doinby back in that mid lane, and immediately they just loop around with the next wave. It's not a cannon wave. Teleport not ready for either top laner. And still, EDG with the siege, they're looking to take the turret. They actually catch SMLZ. He's got no flash. The CC locks him in place. Scout with the kill. Killua trying to retreat as best he can. But EDG are just going to walk this down. Lots of slows, lots of damage. Not enough for another follow-up kill, but that's first brick going over to EDG and a kill.
Yeah, you take the turret, you move over to the dragon as well. The Ocean Drake has just spawned. EDG playing this game out super simple and very clean. The second they see Doinby go to mid lane, they knew the keg was down. There was no real threat for Rogue Warriors to try and defend this. There was no trade on the opposite side of the map from them either, so they just outright lose the trade. They lose more gold. They lose another objective from it. And again, they choose to stay in places where maybe they shouldn't be. They position in areas where perhaps they shouldn't. Because when you look at EDG's composition, of course it's going to catch you out of position. Yeah. You've got a Sejuani ultimate which is ranged, a Varus ultimate which is ranged, and then you've got the Alistar flashing forwards with Talia shove. There's no way out once one piece of crowd control hits you. You just need to not be in a position to get hit by that crowd control in the first place.
Well, at least there's a bit of a window for Rogue Warriors to farm that bottom lane now. SMLZ and Killua make his way back down. No turret, no dragon, no incentive for EDG to be down there. They've already set their eyes to the next neutral objectives. This is the intelligent macro decision-making that we laud EDG for. They are so ruthless with macro objectives once they get an advantage. Well, now they've got one, and they're already headed up top.
Yeah, this is that stock standard Edward Gaming that you want to and expect to see from them, particularly playing around Mako's lane as well. No clear love, no problems, of course, if they're able to still play bot-centric. And Haro just constantly hovering like a shadow to EDG's bottom lane.
He's currently defending iBoy, who's going to finish off that single turret. Rogue Warriors are trying to trade, but this is already looking a bit dicey for Rogue Warriors as iBoy, he's getting gold, he's getting minions. 3 members of Rogue Warriors look to be pushing bottom. Meanwhile, fighting mid lane as Doinby Realm Warps back under his turret.
He barely navigates himself to safety, but yes, Rogue Warriors traded this time around, but they are far too slow to defend the second lane. That tempo still well with them. They want to fight, though.
Yeah, Mouse with the engage. Look at the damage onto Scout. Ooh, that one missed, and a stun on the side. Cask separates it. SMLZ joins in, but already they've lost their front line. Killua opens up the door. Mouse gets flicked back in. SMLZ dodges one, still sitting on the Void Rush as he's looking for an opportunity, but he just can't find anyone isolated and doesn't have the damage just yet. Scout pins him into the wall. The repositioning. SMLZ gets one at the cost of his own life.
Pure mechanics has only had to get a single kill there, and still Rogue Warriors, they do not win the fight. Great kiting back from EDG to be able to net themselves the kill, instantly changing to Flawless. He has the flash available. Well, it doesn't matter because he can't use it. That's how quickly he dies. Rogue Warriors, they still lose the turret when they try to mount the defense. And if that doesn't feel like desperation, I don't know what does. And we're only 18 minutes into this game.
Rusty.
That gold is stretching.
EDG are playing out of their minds. Look at this fight. It's Rogue Warriors once again thinking they can take it, but they just can't quite collapse.
Flawless, who gets killed near immediately as well. The cask misses the mark and actually moves the carries towards him. And suddenly, you know, whilst the carries are free from Rogue Warriors to make some plays, the only reason they get trades at all is miracle work from SMLZ, who's just honestly a star of an AD carry. Now, he gets himself scout, dodges the headbutt pulverize. Works nicely with Kahlua, of course, to net that one. But that's an afterthought. That's a trade down when EDG are already smashing them.
This is quite the shellacking. 5,000 gold lead for Edward Gaming. They are ruthless. They are efficient. They are brutal. And Baron is up in 1 minute. Already they're setting up vision. They're looking to take the Rift Herald. Mouse might not even get a chance to escape.
He's going to have to ult now.
Tracking down his former ally. Can he catch him?
Oh, no.
Doesn't get ahead of the train. Tragically, you can't drag onto the caboose and follow through.
I feel like there might be an interaction where you can headbutt him and then flash in front, but unfortunately the headbutt doesn't hit the mark in that case. And EDG, they'll just settle for the Herald. And if you do want to know what a party Herald looks like, that's when every outer turret is down and you get to use it for a special occasion. So that's what they've got right now with this Rift Herald that they can take for free. Shelly is going to go to Haro. And with that Baron up in 30 seconds, there's even a world where you put it in bottom lane. You put it somewhere that they have to deal with and then threaten the Baron, especially when you're 5,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what we see. EDG, they've got the blue timer. They're setting up vision on this side of the map. Baron isn't even up yet, but they're still controlling vision around the pit. Flawless is there. This could come down to a smite battle. Smite missed, and Haro with an auto attack gets it. Mouse gets flung in, but Rogue Warriors are looking for the fight. Mouse is already dead. Weaver's Wall splits them up. Luckily,
Mouse.
Killer was able to hop away.
That's control of the Baron. 20 minutes just crest over. If you're EDG, you do not do the Baron. You still get picks. That's what your composition excels at.
Oh, flawless. He just walks forward and gets annihilated by Edward Gaming. Look at that, Clear Love. Not even on the Rift, grinning from ear to ear.
They don't even need me, Clear Love saying right now. EDG, they get kill after kill, pick after pick. And next in line, take a ticket because Rogue Warriors, they're looking.
Hex flash onto SMLZ. He's knocked, he's flung, he's trying to get into the back. Killua is going to be soaking so much damage, but two members of Rogue Warriors are the only ones that are still alive. And despite stylish footwork, iBoy steps up to lock down the kill.
And the only remaining member of Rogue Warriors is Doing B. He may want to take a ticket and get in line, but it'd be a bit risky now that everyone has died one by one. EDG, they get the kills and they get themselves the Baron uncontested. Their composition is being played out to a T, and Rogue Warriors look like they have no answer whatsoever.
So often we talk about playoff buffs, but EDG are showing that there's a whole new meaning to the phrase. This is just ruthless Mako finding SMLZ.
Yeah, surgical precision from Mako when it comes to these engages, getting into the back lines, iBoy as well, recognizing SMLZ had no ultimate. He is just going to die no matter what, so flashes forwards with the confidence play. Lots of excitement for EDG getting these kills.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we heard the fans before the game, but this should give even more volume to the EDG cheer next time, as 12 weeks worth of progress are now on the line in this best of 5, and EDG are showing that they have been working day after day to prepare for this best of 5. Rogue Warriors, they're the ones coming up short in this series so far, 8,000 gold down, and it's only 22 minutes in.
And hard snowballing as well with the itemization of EDG. When you look at the item choices of iBoy in particular as well, goes towards the rapid fire cannon second, and is now rushing his Infinity Edge as the third item of choice. Doesn't go Wit's End. Why waste your time getting a middle tier damage dealing item when you're snowballed? Max out that damage.
Haro's on the side. Ray with the engage. They've already managed to catch one. Killa was trying to retreat, but the Talia wall will separate the rest of the team, and it is immediately dropped so that EDG can continue to push. Are they going for a Dancing Herald right now?
They're going to summon the cannon. They've got the Herald going, and this inhib turret has already gone down, so the inhib will be free to take.
They break it down before Shelly charges. The inhibitor will follow. She's looking for a second one, and they are still going forward. The second missed headbutt, but Herald is is not going to stop for that. SMLZ tries to clear the wave, but Herald charges forward. The first Nexus turret is chunked down to half, and still, Scout is split pushing in the side lane. EDG are playing a 4-1. Rogue Warriors look like a fish out of water right now.
EDG know they're ahead, so they're pushing it to the absolute maximum. Now they start to play chicken with Rogue Warriors. They have to engage sooner or later, Rogue Warriors, but there's no Gragas ultimate. Only the flash is there. It has to be Mouse on the Scion, and they don't see an opportunity to press forwards. They're not given an entry into the fights, so they just lose 2 inhibitors.
Yeah, 2 inhibs down, 23 minutes. The pings, as it's a 5-man rush towards the Infernal Dragon. It looks like Rogue Warriors are completely out of their depth in this series. Finally, a recall will be started. I like how EDG brought everyone as if there were a chance that Rogue Warriors would think of contesting. And while Flawless gets a ward in time just to see it die, this is EDG showing why they are one of the best teams in all of China.
And they've hit their 3rd items for their AD carry as well. So really, when you look at what is the opportunity to get back in this game, well, it's not just fleeting, it's all but gone.
Yeah.
They are so far ahead. And a lot of the conversation you could have coming into the playoffs, you know, Rogue Warriors, are there any playoffs nerves? A lot of these players, whilst they've existed in other teams, haven't played together themselves in playoffs, not against EDG as well. But ultimately, I couldn't say that this is a playoffs nerves problem. It's more like a playoffs buff strength for EDG on the opposite side. So I don't want to count out Rogue Warriors just yet, as the cookie crumbles. Game 1 is well and truly in their favor.
So far, at least. I mean, there's always the opportunity for a turnaround. There's always an opportunity for Rogue Warriors to try and get back in. Baron will finally wear off. But double super minions coming from mid and bottom lane already. Scout is pushing in that wave. He's got his Weaver's Wall back on cooldown. Level 14, so he should be able to wall off that inhibitor. Let's see where Rogue Warriors draw the line, though, because they have got to give this up. There is no way.
The line is the last remaining inhibitor. They're just desperate in now.
Fight knockup. Mouse gets sent right back in. That's the Weaver's Wall, but SMLZ joins in. Rogue Warriors' backs against the literal wall are trying to turn it around, but they just don't have the damage. That's 3 members dead. They chase onto the tier 2. Doinby and SMLZ running for their lives. Ray catches back up. Doinby is dead. SMLZ is running for the fountain because Rogue Warriors cannot take this strategy in game 2. They cannot try this game again. EDG are showing that they are prepared, that they should be feared, that they should be respected as they turn on to the Nexus.
More than just prepared, they put on an absolute clinic in this first game. 25 minutes in, and they just dismantle Rogue Warriors.
Absolutely. Turning on, it breaks down. Edward Gaming without even Clear Love to help close it out in a 25-minute Game 1 win.
Clear Love's backstage. All smiles may not even be needed if that's how the rest of this set is going to pan out. EDG definitely in form in that first game. Rogue Warriors just despondent, don't know what to think of it. That was too quick of a game to even really have feelings towards it. You just have to look forwards to game 2. What's next for you?
Mouse looking absolutely shattered after that defeat. He may have gotten revenge against his former teammates earlier in the split, but it's going to take a completely different performance from the Rogue Warriors if they even want to compete in this set.
I mean, to me, that just looked like confusion. That was a what the hell just happened? How did we lose like that? We had no counterplay. Everything we did was the wrong decision. You're just looking towards Rogue Warriors and you're saying, hopefully coming into that second game, they just wake up. Because right now, I think they're still a little bit asleep at the wheel.
Oh, yeah. Massive performance from Edward Gaming in that Game 1 as they chase it down. And it all started from the beginning. Amazingly, Haro, the one to kick things off by finding that gank onto Doinby mid lane, unlocking himself and Scout to be the better 2v2 duo. I think that was the most unexpected part of the entire thing.
I mean, remember, it wasn't just that Haro ganked, it was that Flawless tried to do it sooner, tried to do it earlier in the game, and level 2 is the Gragas that completely backfired. So they had complete control of the mid lane and the jungle 2v2 from that early attempt at a gank. And I do think moving into the next game and all the following games, you won't see something as crazy as that.
Yeah, that's the big hope. As Rogue Warriors make their way back into the room, SMLZ, as expressionless as ever, he's probably feeling something under that mask of a face. But we just have to wonder what it is. Is it determination? Will he be able to recover from this? We know the team is emotional. Mouse, you can see on your screen.
Still looks shocked to me.
Yeah.
It definitely still looks like
unexpected Game 1.
It definitely is. There's a lot to change on Rogue Warriors into the second. EDG, just keep doing you with how they played that first game. They looked very classy.
Yeah, they certainly did. That said, though, it's now time for our analysts to break down what went right for Edward Gaming in that Game 1.
Thank you so much, Dom. And okay, I'm going to start this one off aiming this one towards Froscuri, because I quote, yeah, so we're going to be picking Sejuani, Talia, Varus, and then destroy Rogue Warriors by 25 minutes, I believe was the exact quote. Now, you nailed it. But you also predicted Rogue Warriors win, so
yeah,
explain yourself.
You missed the back part of the quote. I was like, Talia, Sejuani, Varus, win at 25 minutes, Rogue Warriors will win the series. Series isn't over. I'm a little bit afraid, however. But I do want to start this out on draft, and I'm sorry, Reddit, but I'm about to flame you because you told me that Kai'Sa was OP. You told me that it was a controversial statement, that Invictus Gaming, why aren't they banning? What are Afrika doing? What is Kingzone doing? What's happening? Well, guess what? Kai'Sa is not permaban worthy. This is exactly how you deal with her. You can smash this champion in lane phase, and then if you don't give her access tools like the Trundle, like the Alistar, like these champions that can proc the plasma so she can get into the backline, this is what happens. Alistar is a perfect champion against Kai'Sa because she's short range, she's low mobility, he has the targetable defense. In every single team fight, Mako just blitzed in, completely zoned out MLSE, and we didn't even get to see Kai'Sa be relevant.
And here's the thing, just even before we go on this one, Alistar is an amazing champion with Kai'Sa and against Kai'Sa.
So good with Kai'Sa.
Exactly. So I want to see where this one goes on, if it even sees the light of day, just because I thought Mako played phenomenally this set.
I do also want to say that I think the bigger problem too is that when you have Braum with Kai'Sa, you do have some access to go all in to try to look for kill pressure lanes, but the problem was the Gragas and trying to gank against Sejuani. Again, Sejuani really thrives in the scuttle control, as does Talia having the push on Ryze. So it's fine if you do Kai'Sa Braum, but if you want to contest in the 2v2, turn it into a 3v3 bot side with junglers, you need to have a different jungle mid matchup. So the Kai'Sa really struggled in the early game because her mid jungle wasn't able to give her access to utilize her all-in potential.
But I understand why the Gragas existed. I understand.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
I get why the pick was there, but it's just like conflicting narratives.
Sure. Yes, ultimately they needed to really hunker down and defend the bottom lane. That was the entire strategy. Of course, the disengage point from the Gragas, TP, double TP from both Ryze and the Sion, they should be able to make the bot lane defense work. Yep. But there was so many points of miscommunication. This seems to be
terrible execution.
Exactly. This is a consistent point whenever it comes towards a Kai'Sa composition or a Kog'Maw composition. Essentially anything that wants to get to the late game aspect of it, because if it doesn't, if you lose that bottom lane early, then it becomes an issue of, well, I mean, this champion can't push all too well, and she has to get to the next destination.
Yeah, I want to dig a little bit deeper here, Raz. We're talking about communication, and we can really just see a massive disconnect here with Rogue Warriors. You can see how greedy SMLZ is. He's like, I can do it. I'm looking at the highlight reel, but it just comes apart at the seams here.
And a lot of the misexecution does start with Kahlua dying. So Braum dies, has the ultimate available, way overextended, and now they're missing one of their key members, and they decide to take the fight anyway. SMLZ was so greedy, holding on to his flash. He didn't want to have to flash over the Dragon Wall. He was waiting for the TP to come in. So I like that aspect of Rogue Warriors. It's why sometimes they do find these miracle team fights. But again, why are you attempting to take a 4v5, especially on those item breakpoints? EDG's composition was just stronger than you were never going to win, even if it was a 5v5.
Yeah, it was on EDG's terms. They had the vision control of the area as well, just because they had the push priority. At this point in the game, you have to be able to choose your fights wisely. There were certain aspects where it looked good for Rogue Warriors around the mid lane. There were certain points where they would have done that. They mis-executed it, but you just have to hyper-focus on those skirmishes specifically, because the goal shouldn't be to outright win it. It should be to prolong it, so you don't have to worry about you losing out fights or losing out vision or losing out dragons. I think they lost sight of what their composition wanted to do.
And frankly, Rogue Warriors just got blitzed in the early game. And usually those bot lane plays.
Blasted.
There's a lot of words here.
There's a lot of words you can use for that one.
There was like some Team Rocket
so many synonyms coming over from that one. That is a good one. We're going to ship that one. But talking about the bottom lane here as well, like EDG, we see so many of their plays move towards the bottom lane. It's just like, something went wrong. Maybe the jungle wasn't on the same page. But they had such a massive advantage by this point that EDG were able to collapse into this one. And Rogue Warriors, they were like, where's Silent?
Yeah, exactly that. Look at Sion. He has no teleport. He's just used his ultimate to get back up into the top lane. And 15 seconds before that replay happens, Sion is actually walking bottom. They know that the dive is coming, and he's choosing to try to ult into the back line. But again, it's the lack of communication, the terrible execution. If Sion then says, guys, I'm going top lane, the rest of Rogue Warriors didn't believe him, apparently.
Yeah, you got to back up on out of there if that just turns out to be the case. If that's the call, you lose the tower.
Exactly. Instead, they just choose to feed and not only give up the tower, but then give up all of the kill gold advantage.
Now, we've given Haro a lot of flack, coming into pregame and coming into this series because of his performance during the regular season. However, he will be picking up our man of the match, our MVP in this game, coming out of the jungle here.
All right, there we go. I mean, that's a good on him, obviously, being able to pick up that MVP for himself. I thought he performed really well in the Sejuani here today.
He's on Sejuani.
Yeah,
like, I understand Haro is playing better, but that champion is so easy mode, especially for everything that EDG want to do. If Haro starts to perform on something like a Gragas, then I'll be like, okay, he's the go-to jungler, but right now he's just clear love 2.0.
I mean, that's fair, but even in regular season, we saw the Sejuani really just not pan out even for Haro. We saw it multiple times and would walk bot, miss the ult, miss the Arctic Assault, and be like, oh, well, we'll try again in 6 minutes, boys.
So now, because he hits his ultimate, he's suddenly MVP?
When the Sejuani ends up picking up MVP, it's never about the mechanics. It's always about, are they on the right track? Is the game plan working out well for them? The first gank onto Doomby was successful, well executed, and of course he was always with Mako, always on the right track when he was in the bottom side of the map going. That's why the game was so quick. It was literally just a game about Mako and Haro, which is why I'm a little bit upset that Mako didn't get that MVP.
That's the key word for me. It's Mako. If Mako's not next to Haro, do you still get an MVP performance? Because we haven't seen that.
Yeah, we just don't know at this stage either. And, you know, there's also Clearlove waiting in the wings as well. We'll see if he'll sub in. But for now, EDG will take game 1. We are going to take a short break. However, we'll be back in 2 minutes.